I think we're going to count this as the lost summer.
Dragging on, a project that was supposed to add tons of new sand to North County beaches, the challenges for the managers in charge. And on the campaign trail, a new push from the Republican presidential hopeful to broaden his appeal. The San Diego Latinos who say Donald Trump is the right man for the White House.
A few years ago, me and a couple of friends, we were talking about, hey, why isn't there a convention near us here in like North County, San Diego, or Southern Riverside? We need somebody to, make a convention here that's affordable and it's a lot of fun, and why don't we just do it?
A fine excuse to get dressed up as a hero or villain. The celebration of all things nerdy this weekend. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. The new state law allowing terminally ill people to end their lives will stand for now. A California judge rejected a request by physicians to immediately suspend the law, but will allow them to pursue their lawsuit. It claims the law lacks safeguards to protect against abuse. Advocates say terminally ill people could face prolonged, painful deaths if the law is suspended. A major setback today for parents who are trying to stop the mandatory vaccinations for kids in California schools. A judge decided to deny a request for an injunction against the new law. It eliminated the state's personal belief exemption. This allowed families to enroll children who were not up to date on the vaccination schedule. A federal case against the law will continue. 3 San Diego County families are part of the legal fight. In an effort to protect the nation's blood supply, the Food and Drug Administration is advising all U.S. blood banks to start screening for Zika. Previously, this requirement was limited to areas of active Zika transmission in Puerto Rico and 2 counties in Florida. Blood banks already test donations for HIV, hepatitis, West Nile virus, and other blood-borne viruses. Falling poll numbers may be motivating Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump to broaden his appeal. He's now trying to win over Black and Latino voters. Trump courted them this week as he met with a new GOP initiative. It's training young minority volunteers to drive up the voter turnout. His campaign remains divisive.
We spoke about Mr. Trump's plan of obviously we're either going to have borders or we're not, but there is a softer side that Mr. Trump is echoing because obviously he understands family is important.
We're undocumented, we're unafraid, and we're here to stay, and we're going to stand here and fight for immigrant communities and communities of color.
Trump says he will give an immigration speech soon to clarify his stance on the issue. Latinos for Trump, it's a group of supporters of Donald Trump making waves on social media. Now they plan to come together for a rally in Orange County this weekend.
Amena Barreto and Leticia are proud U.S. citizens, proud Latinas, and proud Donald Trump supporters.
I mean, we're Americans first, and that's what Trump supports. That's his message.
Amena immigrated to the U.S. from Colombia. She says her police officer father was killed during the country's war on drugs.
It was scary. I woke up with windows broken, and I'm scared for my daughter to have ISIS here.
Many have witnessed this violence personally.
Amena thinks Trump will be tougher on terrorism than Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton.
I don't trust her at all. And it scares me to death to think that we're going to see the same things that I saw in the 90s. And I feel helpless for my daughter.
Leticia, who declined to give her last name, agrees with Trump's plans to reform immigration and to secure the U.S.-Mexico border.
To say that we're going to protect the laws that are on the books and actually deport people who come here illegally is not racist. Other countries do it. Mexico does it.
These 2 Latinos for Trump are part of a movement that they believe is even bigger than the thousands of Facebook likes suggest.
I go to church and it's a Hispanic congregation. They're all voting for Trump. You can hear it in the pews. but they're not going to say it out loud.
But Jimena and Leticia are not only willing to say it, but wave signs for anyone to see. Donald Trump has their vote.
Meantime, Hillary Clinton says voters shouldn't, quote, be fooled by Trump's efforts to rebrand his campaign.
Donald Trump has built his campaign on prejudice and paranoia. He is taking hate groups mainstream and helping a radical fringe take over the Republican Party.
Clinton says Trump is the first nominee of a major party to stoke and encourage racial hate. Trump's real message, she says, is to make America hate again. The game plan to keep the Chargers in San Diego is falling short of voter expectations. A new poll by 10 News in the San Diego Union Tribune shows only 39% support for the team's plan. They want to build a stadium convention center annex in downtown San Diego. 25% of voters are undecided. The measure is on the fall ballot. It would raise the hotel room tax by 4% to pay for construction. It needs 2/3 majority vote to move forward. Seismic experts say Italy's deadly destructive earthquake should be a wake-up call for California. Experts say the state has made great strides in ensuring its modern buildings can withstand a major earthquake. But there are some buildings that are still highly vulnerable. Southern California, San Francisco Bay Area, and Humboldt County in Northern California are areas that are the most at risk.
When we have an earthquake, we're going to have casualties. We're going to see a lot of damage. There's going to be a lot of business interruption. It's going to happen. And it's just, you know, we've addressed some of the high-risk buildings. We just haven't gotten to everything.
Even with reinforcements, seismic experts say no building is immune to earthquakes. No more new coal terminals in California. A new law signed by Governor Jerry Brown stops state funding for these projects. He says action should be taken on multiple fronts to transition away from coal, noting that coal exports from the state's ports declined by more than 1/3 last year. The measure would not affect existing projects to improve safety or modernization or maintenance. An annual beach replenishment project in Oceanside that is usually done by Memorial Day is still dragging on. In fact, it won't even be finished by Labor Day. KPBS North County reporter Allison St. John says the Army Corps of Engineers is promising things will be better next year.
Oceanside beaches could have really used a good infusion of sand this summer. Winter and spring storms left many beaches stonier than usual. But an annual dredging project that usually brings tons of fresh sand to the beach has failed this year to meet expectations.
I think we're going to count this as the lost summer.
Oceanside City Councilman Jerry Kern is disappointed that a new contractor hired by the Army Corps of Engineers this year has been working on the beach since early June and is still not done with the job, even as summer is drawing to a close.
The other contractor that did that had a 48-inch pipe. They were in and out in less than 3 or 4 weeks because their dredge was big enough to actually do everything within a 3-week period.
As you can see, there's nothing coming out of the pipe down there. And that's part of the problem. There's been one hold-up after another on this project.
Scott John is the project manager for the Army Corps of Engineers. He says the Corps' contract is actually focused on dredging sand out of the mouth of the harbour so boats can get in and out safely.
The contract is to maintain the federal navigation channels within the harbor, and a secondary benefit of that is placing the sand on the beach that builds up their beaches.
The water and sand is dredged up from the harbour mouth and fed down a pipe that runs all the way along the beach. The sand is good quality, and when things are going well, it spews out 24 hours a day. But not this year. After almost 3 months, the job is less than half done. Kern says beachgoers have had to step over pipes and avoid heavy equipment north of the pier all summer long. And boat charters out of the harbour have suffered too.
I know one operator in the harbor, not because of the sand on the beach, but because they haven't been able to clear the harbor. She's lost $40,000 this summer because she can't get out of the harbor because it's too shallow.
Scott John says the Army Corps was just following procedures when it awarded the contract to a new company this year.
The justification was that they were the low bidder, so the difference between the low bidder and the second low bidder was about $225,000.
John says part of the reason the dredging company, CJW, won the contract was because it's a small business. But their smaller equipment has had trouble handling large ocean swells coming in the harbour mouth. Councilman Kern says the city had hoped to pay for some extra sand this year.
We actually had $600,000 set aside, so after the pumping, the 260,000 cubic yards we were supposed to get, we were going to tag on to that permit and pump another 40,000 yards back into our beach with our money.
Kern says there's no chance the job will be done by Labor Day or even perhaps by the end of September.
I wouldn't bet on it.
John says the Corps is focused on meeting its goal of clearing the harbour mouth to a depth of about 25 feet. He would not say whether the contract would be renewed next year, but
we've committed to finishing the job before Memorial Day next year, 2017.
Alison St. John, KPBS News.
A new report by the state auditor has revealed wasteful activity by state workers. The auditor details about $397,000 worth of improper activity committed by state employees. That includes receiving gifts, wasting funds for filing false expense reports, and to pocket taxpayer money.
The good thing, though, is that people are watching, they are reporting it, and we're investigating it.
Investigators say they have uncovered more than $570 million worth of improper activity committed by state agencies since the office started looking into these types of reports by whistleblowers. An update tonight on a measure to make it easier for women to access a year's supply of birth control in California. Governor Brown will review a bill that would allow them to do that. Currently, insurance companies usually cover 30 to 90 days at one time. Supporters say birth control is most effective when taken consistently, and this bill will help do that. Insurance groups are opposed. The Nordstrom department store in downtown San Diego Horton Plaza is closing its doors today for good. The store has been in that spot for 31 years. About 180 employees will be affected. There are 3 other Nordstrom stores in the region and 4 Nordstrom racks. Got an iPhone? AP reporter Peter Banda says if you haven't already, you might want to update the software. You can blame it on a case of international espionage.
Apple issued a global iPhone security update after researchers uncovered powerful espionage software targeting an activist's phone in the Middle East. In a statement, the company says it fixed the vulnerability immediately after learning about it. The security flaw could give hackers full control over the phone, including the ability to eavesdrop on calls, activate cameras and microphones, steal passwords, and harvest messages.
It seems that the attack involved a series of zero-day exploits called a remote jailbreak. Now, this sort of attack, this is the first time we've seen that in the wild.
Researchers uncovered the flaw, which allows the removal of software restrictions, after United Arab Emirates human rights activist Ahmed Mansour received suspicious text messages earlier this month. Those texts contained links promising information about torture in prisons.
The message also came from an unknown number, and the second one was from an info SMS as a sender. And we discovered that both are not real. Those are editable senders. I noticed the messages immediately, basically those 2 messages pushed all the red alarms to me because, I've been targeted several times with several spywares.
Mansour contacted researchers at the internet watchdog group Citizen Lab. They traced the attempt to the NSO Group, an Israeli company that says its technology helps governments combat terror and crime. The company, in a statement, says it has no knowledge of any particular incidents.
We were able to link the the website that was in the link sent to Ahmed Mansour to a list of websites that we had earlier mapped out and connected to NSO Group.
Citizen Lab and smartphone security company Lookout issued 2 reports.
These sorts of exploits are typically very expensive. We saw a similar type of exploit sold last year for about $1 million.
Mansour has been beaten, imprisoned, robbed, and has had his passport confiscated by the authorities over the years for his activist work. He sees no end to hacker attacks.
They are going to experiment on me all the time whenever they have a chance to use any of their tools. They would spare no effort in targeting me with that.
Marzak says despite the well-engineered software in iPhones, hackers will continue to look for ways to break in. Peter Banda, Associated Press, Denver.
Looks like sunshine is here to stay with warm weather inland with mild temperatures along the coast. Larissa Abreu has that in tonight's forecast.
Happy Friday, and thanks so much for joining me. Conditions across Southern California will remain nice and quiet, but as we take a look further inland, it's coming down pretty heavily in some spots across the Four Corners due to that monsoonal moisture that continues to move in from Mexico. We can see showers and storms, and that's pretty much going to be the trend over the next few days in the Four Corners. We will see some change across SoCal, but I'll bring you those details coming up in just a second. The metro area tonight looking good. Now we will see the typical thickening cloud cover, temperature of 64 expected. Once again, if you are doing some traveling, you do want to exercise caution. The fog can cause low visibility out there, and we'll have lots of it. In fact, that's going to be the trend all up and down the coast from Long Beach to San Diego, southbound towards Chula Vista. Further inland, conditions are or will be very clear. We're looking good in Ramona, low 52 degrees, Mount Laguna at 47, even milder as we travel north and east into Mecca, coming in at 73 under mainly clear skies. Here's a look at what's expected as we kick off the weekend across the Golden State. We are keeping a very watchful eye on a weakening trough that will begin to progressively move eastward. Now, it's not going to bring any precipitation across Southern California. We desperately need the rain, but most of the action will remain across the Four Corners. This is actually going to help fuel some of these spotty thunderstorms across the Four Corners Saturday afternoon. If you're staying along the coast, well, it's going to be a beautiful start to the weekend. We'll have low clouds and then sunshine as we head towards the afternoon. Comfortable high of 75 expected here. As we head towards Sunday, lots of sunshine continuing, and highs will climb to around 75 degrees. A little bit milder as we kick off the new work and school week. It should be clear with highs climbing to 77. Those temperatures will break into the 80s by Tuesday, so still comfortable. We will notice partly cloudy skies Tuesday afternoon, and then temperatures will drop right back down into the 70s as we approach midweek. Inland, we're looking good with highs climbing to 81 on Saturday. By Sunday, lots of sunshine here, high 85 degrees. We break into the upper 80s by Monday, break into the 90s on Tuesday. So we do anticipate the next several days to continue to get warmer and warmer. So take advantage of Saturday. Temperatures will remain nice and comfortable. And speaking of comfort, beautiful several days out in the mountains, 77 degrees, your high Saturday. We're at 82 on Sunday. And then the sizzle continues across the desert. Lots of sunshine here over the next few days, and temperatures will remain in the triple digits. Larissa Abreu, KPBS News.
This could be the final blow for any killer whale show in California. Lawmakers are sending a bill to the governor's desk today. It bans California theme parks from breeding orcas or featuring them in shows. A violation of the law could end with a $100,000 fine. SeaWorld announced in March that it would stop its killer whale breeding program. The company took a hit to its bottom line after the critical 2013 documentary, Blackfish.
Tonight we'll find out what happened to the San Diego cop who shot Faroon Nahad last year. And the Chargers defend their stadium plan against some influential attackers. Join us for the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
They took everything they needed to survive a year away from home. Students moved into the dorms at San Diego State today. The parking lot packed with families, helping loved ones unload clothing, computers, and all things that would help them transform a bedroom into a new home away from home. The next chance for nerds to unite is happening in Escondido. NerdCon is satisfying your need for all things geeky this weekend. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando says the convention was taking over the 12 acres of California Center for the Arts.
We're here at the California Center for the Arts in Escondido, and this is the Lyric Courtyard, and it's going to be transformed into the Cosplay Courtyard. We're going to have a lot of different photo shoots and things and meetups going on. This is a great central location for NerdCon where people love to meet up and connect with their groups and take photos and just have a great time.
NerdCon brands itself as a convention for nerds, by nerds, and with the goal of uniting the nerd community.
A few years ago, me and a couple of friends, we were talking about, hey, why isn't there a convention near us here in like North County, San Diego, or Southern Riverside? We need somebody to, make a convention here that's affordable and it's a lot of fun, and why don't we just do it? Because if we do it, we could make sure that it's done right and that it's being done for the right reasons and not just to try to make money.
As it enters its second year, it's nowhere near as big as the well-established Comic-Con, but it's trying to tap into geek culture in North County and especially into the cosplay community.
Well, we have a various number of things that really draw in the cosplayers. We have a variety of different vendors that are going to sell cosplay props, and we have a number of workshops and panels to help you actually develop your craft and give you the opportunity to ask questions about different techniques. And we actually have the San Diego Makers Guild coming, that they're actually going to show you how to do LED lights and plastic molds and just a ton of really fun stuff. And the cosplayers that we have that are guests, they're very nice. They're super open to having the beginners come up to them and ask them questions and help them to learn and kind of develop that craft.
Day passes for NerdCon are $18 for adults, and a pass for the weekend is just $35. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
NerdCon runs through tonight and Sunday. Today marks the start of cruise season for the Port of San Diego. Passengers boarded the Disney Wonder at the B Street terminal. They're headed south through the Panama Canal with stops in Cabo San Lucas and Puerto Vallarta, among other places. Port officials say cruise ship traffic through San Diego is up 30% from last year, with 90 passenger liners scheduled. It's made a steady climb in the past 2 years after a slowdown stemming from the recession and worries about violence in Mexico.
I'm Hari Srinivasan. On the next News Hour, Judy Woodruff hosts a roundtable of voters in Virginia on the issues driving their decisions. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
The dream to travel among the stars is now set to music. It's taking center stage at the Old Globe Theater. KPBS arts producer Nina Guerin tells us how the West Coast premiere of October Sky is blasting off soon.
Back in 1999, the movie October Sky told the true story of Homer Hickam, a coal miner's son who dreamed of working for NASA. Now, the Old Globe turns that story into a musical.
We may not have the skill to build us a rocket, and the one thing we know is we don't know a lot.
The musical, like the film and novel, was inspired by the reaction to the launch of the Sputnik satellite in 1957. Instead of being afraid, like many of his neighbors were, the international event inspired Homer to dream of a life outside his West Virginia town. This hopeful reaction was why Old Globe artistic director Barry Edelstein said he was attracted to the show.
The country got scared when Sputnik came overhead. Homer decided to build a rocket. And that impulse, that the drive to create is the right response to fear, is one that I love and that this piece reminds us to embrace.
He says turning to big, seemingly impossible ideas is a theme that should resonate with San Diego's large scientific community.
We're gonna launch a rocket! We're gonna launch a rocket! We're gonna launch a rocket!
October Sky is also being described as a wholesome show that's appropriate for all ages. The musical is directed by Rachel Rockwell. It runs September 10th through October 23rd at the Old Globe. Nina Guerin, KPBS News.
A SpaceX Dragon capsule splashed into the Pacific today just off the Baja California coast. It was laden with scientific gifts from the International Space Station, 3,000 pounds of research and equipment, including 12 mice that flew up on the Dragon last month as part of a genetic study. California-based SpaceX is the only company making a capsule capable of returning to the Earth with cargo. Other ships burn up on re-entry. Finally, happy National Dog Day. If you want to treat man's best friend to a vacation, Associated Press reporter Emily Roseman says you may want to check out a beach getaway in Europe that has gone to the dogs.
Pebble Beach, crisp, cool waters, and even a bar.
What more could a dog ask for? A small town along Croatia's Adriatic coast offers vacationers and their four-legged pals a place where both can soak in the rays and the calming waters, claiming to be the country's first ever dog beach. Owners can lay out on the rocky coast, grab a raft and float with their furry friends, even grab a bite and a brew at the dog beach bar. Igor, the owner of Monty's Beach Bar, says the attraction has been warmly accepted by owners and pooches alike, with offerings like ice cream cones and doggy beers made of beef, chicken, and malt barley extracts. While Croatia continues to be a popular destination in Europe, dogs are not allowed on most beaches along the Adriatic coastline. Now, with the new doggy-friendly beach, man's best friend can grab a towel right next to its owner.
Und das ist einfach total entspannt.
This tourist from Germany says it's a relaxing place for their pup to make new friends while enjoying their holiday. As little Fido finds a little rest and relaxation along the Adriatic, it's truly a dog's life on this Croatian beach. Emily Roseman, Associated Press.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.